enough of that. So, how was everybody's Christmas?
It was good.
Yeah.
It
Preston, go
was
ahead.
busy. Yeah, it was busy. I feel like we did everything we wanted to do. Yeah, it was just the biggest thing was the lead up to Christmas. I feel like that was a whirlwind. The entire month of December just kind of
Yeah.
blew away. Now we're just trying to kind of slow pace into the new year here. How about y'all?
Greg?
Mine was pretty chill. Woke up. We last year, Sunny and I kind of started our first tradition doing puzzles
Yeah.
around Christmas time because it's notoriously a slow time of year for us for our business. So we're
Mhm.
kind of able to get some stuff set up in the background and just be able to take an hour or two each day to just kind of relax and hang out. And so we did that in the morning, had a little bit of a fire, and then um, Sunny's mom is Jewish. They're all about having Chinese food or Asian food for Christmas.
Yeah.
Sunny did her first attempt at sushi. Turned out really good, and then she made some spring rolls, and so we went next door, hung out with the mom-in-law for about an hour or so until she kind of started petering out energy wise, and came home.
Nice.
Outside of that, yeah, it's been we had some friends over the Thursday before Christmas. It was the first time we had people over in a little while, so it was
Yeah.
nice to have some new energy and other energy into the house. So that's why like I made that joke with you, Preston. Like I was jealous that you had 15, 16 people to actually come over to your house.
I mean, it's nice having people over, but I don't know if I want 15 or 16 people
I
over.
mean, it's good for one night. Like you don't do that
That's
every
right.
night or multiple nights in a row. It's like one night and then they leave and you're like, ah, that was fun, but I'm good.
Next time it's somebody else's house.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Uh, no, I mean, mine was pretty straightforward. Like I said, Devin's sister came into town, so it's always nice having you know family over, especially for Devin. I know she kind of misses her family and all that, but at the same time, it does kind of throw my normal daily routines off. It's like well, now I'm not going to sit there and watch what I want to watch on the TV all day because I need to kind of be respectful of the other people in the room. So. But we watched a lot of Christmas movies, so kind of went through the whole gambit of stuff over the holidays, and then got up Christmas morning and did breakfast and all that stuff. And
How many times did you watch The Christmas Story on Christmas Day? Because we have a record that we did not beat this year.
oh no, I actually have never watched Christmas Story on Christmas Day. No,
On Christmas Day. Well,
yeah.
isn't the marathon on Christmas Eve or is it always on Christmas
It's on
Day?
Christmas Day.
So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, most of the TV stations, all that, I pretty much stream everything, or I
Okay.
already have a Blu-ray because it's something that you know, growing up, just always had. So my Christmas tradition is always watching the Muppet Christmas Carol
All right.
since I was a kid. I was 11. We all do that Christmas Eve, and then since adulthood, it's been Die Hard and Krampus.
I would say that could be kind of be the first like, all right, so like hot topic. What's everybody's top Christmas movie? Whether it's movie,
Muppet
animated,
Christmas
just
Carol. I mean,
like that's the one. So we got Muppet Christmas Carol for Josh Preston.
I'm partial to The Christmas Story, even though I've seen it like 2,500
yeah,
times. It's just classic. I
Yeah,
like the others. I pick a Die Hard here and there, but nobody wants to watch Die Hard in my family
yeah,
here. So.
not in your family. I'd say either Jingle All the Way, good
okay,
old Schwarzenegger. And
yeah,
Sinbad. I
That's a
like
good
that
one.
one. And then a newer to me, anyways, animated one that Sunny and I really enjoy is Klaus,
okay.
animated one that where he's like a
Haven't watched it,
postmaster.
but I've seen it on there. Yeah.
It's pretty solid. Kind of tries to teeter on like the Tim Burton kind of side of things where it's a
Hmm.
little bit darker and stuff like that. But I mean, it's still a super campy like kids movie. So I think compared to anything, Tim Burton is a little generous, but the like the storyline and stuff like that, it's
Had to look
pretty good.
this
But
up. Just
yeah,
looking at the
it's on
poster of it.
Netflix.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
It's a Netflix original, right? Like, I think
That
like
I can't say with any certainty. I'd maybe.
I think it's like
Um,
one of their animated studio. So the ones that did K-pop and all that. Um,
it I didn't see it for the first time until Thanksgiving. Sonny's or our niece,
of course.
which she thinks she's like 3.
Yep.
And yeah, just that they had the setup. The adults, we had our big TV in the living room, and her brother had a secondary, little 30-incher
Yep.
that he put on the ground for hers. But the sound was always K-pop, so
Yep.
I came out well versed with all this stuff. Like after seeing all those like Instagram reels and everything
Yes.
of parents, adults singing the songs, I'm in the airport,
The songs are really catchy, man, and that's the problem. Like, the kids wanted to hear K-pop like on the way to school, so we started playing it in my car, and then
Yep.
it became part of all my playlists. So then it's like, all right, well, I'd be listening to my normal music, and then K-pop Golden would jump on there, and I'm like, all
My
right, well,
biggest aggravation with my end of the year like Spotify rap, where it talks about it's like here's like my top 5 bands and I'm like that no, why is that in there?
That's
The
just not
kids,
me.
damn it. They ruined the algorithm. So,
Well, I feel like Spotify's algorithm's been getting worse and worse
yeah.
over the last few years. It's like you finally had this amazing platform where you have all of this music at your fingertips, but then you try to just do like a random play this
Yeah.
artist or something or songs like this artist, and it plays the same like 25 songs.
Right.
That's a good question for y'all. Is because I don't use Spotify, I just use YouTube just to kind of browse around and find music at this point. Do y'all use any particular music streaming service?
So I will say I pay for YouTube Premium, so I get YouTube Music in that app, and I said Spotify Rap just because I figured that's what everybody else uses, and I was the only one who used the YouTube. But truly, mine was actually the YouTube end of the year app, and I love the YouTube. I feel like I find a lot more newer bands that way. I can let it go off and do its thing, and it's going to bring up things that I've never heard of before. Unlike what Spotify used to be, at least. So, yeah, I made
Yeah.
that switch a while ago.
If you listen to stuff that's not like produced by like major labels as well, that's what I
Mhm.
found, it's most of my
A
music
lot of
when it comes
independent
to like
stuff.
house and EDM. So it's like you can't find it on the Spotify. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with YouTube.
Yeah, I know I've used YouTube years ago, and I think I liked it because like you had to pay for the premium, but that way you could actually close your phone and
Correct.
go do
It's in the
other things
background.
to do
Yeah.
other things with it. Yeah, I mean Spotify, like for me, and it's just like I think for most people when it comes to streaming or anything, it's just what people have always used, so
It's
it's just
ease of
easy
use. It's
to
most
just
yeah.
keep using it and stuff like that. That's the one nice thing about here. Everything's a little bit cheaper when it comes to streaming, not like tons.
Mhm.
But like our Netflix is a little bit cheaper, our Spotify is a little bit cheaper, and so it's just been kind of. But what I was saying though was it's the randomness is not random anymore. Like
Right.
it used to be, 5+ years ago that like when you did just kind of do a random and stuff like that, you'd get a lot of newer stuff, things that aren't for. But now it's you put in an artist and then it just plays the most similar 5 artists and their
Right.
top 10 songs. You're not ever having a deep cut come up or anything.
Mhm.
So
I'm gonna put Greg on the spot here. Greg, how long have you and Sonny been in Portugal?
full time
2
about a
years?
year and a half. It'll 2.5 years. We moved
Okay.
here for the first time in August of 2023.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We landed August, I think it was 14th. And then we were here until December of that year. And then we went back to Colorado to work for about 4 or 5 months, stack some more cash.
Mhm.
But we are getting ready to, 2025 was our first year working for ourselves fully. And we survived. We paid all, like, we're wrapping up all of our goals. And we went out to dinner
Mhm.
last night, kind of wrapping up 2025 and stuff like that. And kind of I had that realization. I was like, oh shit, I didn't have to work for another person this year, and
Yeah.
we made it. I didn't make a lot of money, but we made it.
That'll change. No,
Yeah.
I always go ahead, Jeff.
No. I was going to change it to a different question. So
Yeah.
if you want to finish it off, Preston, finish with
You probably have a
your
similar
direction.
question that I have, so just go ahead and then I'll follow behind you.
So kind of staying on the Christmas theme, Greg, how is Christmas celebrated culturally so much more different over there than what you kind of grew up as?
Yeah, so I mean, for me growing up, we were we weren't a big religious family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad grew up Catholic, but like a lot of people of our parents' generation, they once they
Yeah.
became an adult, they kind of pushed away from that because of all the
Mm-hmm.
Irish and Italian guilt and all that stuff. So for us, I mean, Christmas was great for us. It was about family, it was about the presents and stuff.
Yeah.
So here in Portugal, it is a very old school, the salt of the earth
Yeah.
culture. So rooted very heavily in deep Catholicism.
I was gonna say Catholic is very
And so
favored.
Christmas here is massive. Similar, they have, I love it in Europe in general. They have the massive Christmas markets. Like
Mhm.
last November, I went up to Germany for 3 days just to go watch some footy,
Yeah.
and walked into the Christmas villages there, and it was just
Mhm.
that was like a whole nother level. But so here, the main differences are Santa's called Father Christmas,
Mhm.
um, and their big family dinner is starts late at Christmas Eve. So dinner starts around 10 o'clock, and
Okay.
then they go through. Um, then midnight is when they'll have the kids open up all the presents and stuff like that, and then the whole country, the majority of workers have the whole week off
Oh.
through New Year's as well. So honestly, the celebration aspect of it, and the if you do follow the religious
Mhm.
backed beliefs, are pretty similar here, because again, it's very deep rooted in
Yeah.
Catholicism
Yeah.
in most of the areas, especially where we're at here centrally,
Yeah.
and a bit more rural.
Well, I kind of bring that up, and you kind of touched on it a little bit with talking about going over to Germany. My dad just got back from a week and a half long trip to Germany. They got back on the 22nd. So he was over there for the Christmas, basically got to see all the festivals, and he was telling me about the markets, and it was interesting hearing from him, having obviously he raised me and siblings in that religious, Jesus 25th, it's in the Bible. It's that
You're the
that kind
most religious of the three of us on the screen
I
right
know.
now.
But it was kind of raised that way. And he's telling me about the stuff that he kind of was learned over there. And he was like, yeah, so did you know that, it was originally a pagan holiday, and the Germans and all these people, they would actually celebrate the winter solstice? And he's like going on this whole thing. I'm like, yeah, Dad. Yeah. I've known that since the day I moved out of the house. But I'm glad you finally, at 60 years old, finally realized that on December 25th is not when Jesus was born. It's that was a thing that was brought over from, the Romans and all this type of stuff. So it was interesting to kind of hear, just in him traveling and seeing another culture, things that he probably would have argued about for years, now was put in his face and goes, oh, I guess that isn't, what I always thought it was. Not that it changed his religion or anything. He still believes what he believes, but it made him appreciate that, a lot of things are a lot older and not as black and white as he once thought.
I mean, just to kind of touch base on that, I think traveling does that, and like
Mhm.
I'm still very new in my travels. I mean, I didn't leave the country for the first time until
Yeah.
we came to Spain and Portugal in 2021. But yeah, everything just, your perspective changes greatly, and you become just naturally, I feel, more open to listening to other people's thoughts,
Yeah.
ideas, understandings. Well, and then especially you compare it to the climate that is, that not just the United States, because it's similar here
Mhm.
in Portugal. Just kind of isolationism and an openness.
Right.
So,
I think
but I'm
it's
sure
how
we'll
it's
dabble in that at some point.
yeah, I think it's how people travel too. Like between the age of like, I don't know, 19 and 24,
Hmm.
my mother and I were in Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic for every Christmas for
Yeah.
those 5 years. And when you're there as a tourist in one of these countries, like most you see of Santa is like Santa on a parasail, like coming
Yeah.
down on the beach. So there's different ways I think that people celebrate Christmas. Like that was my mom and I's for years because after my dad passed, it was like, well, we hate the holidays now. Now we're gonna get the hell out of here. So there's
Hmm.
some perspective to be learned there. But I'm back into it now. The family stuff is nice, but it was a nice break then too.
When you guys would go down to uh, the Central America and the Caribbean, were you guys mostly staying like on resorts, or were you guys like actually getting into the villages and then
It's
experiencing a little bit of the culture?
That's a great question. In Mexico at the time, we would stay on resort property except for one time, which was almost a mistake. We were if you're in any of the tourist areas, like a Cancun or like a Los Cabos, like there's like Mexican military that's there that's
Hmm.
surrounding those tourist areas. So even if you ventured out a little bit, you're still pretty protected. Um, Acapulco is not that way because it's closer to some of the regions that have less control by the Mexican government. So we actually went out. We had a cliff diving event that we needed to get out from the resort to get to, and it was pretty far away. And we called just a normal taxi, which was a mistake because you tell the taxi where to go. Of course, we told them in Spanish, and then he wants to stop at all these other places before you get to your event. And it's usually like bringing you to a jewelry store where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is my family, go in and buy some jewelry.
Mm.
A lot of that. So I would not recommend it. That may have changed over the past 10 to 15 years, but typically you don't want to venture too far in unless you're in an area where there's some government control. That's in Mexico though. Puerto Rico, like you're fine. Dominican Republic, uh, no, don't do the let me take you to no, this was Jamaica. Let me take you to Kingston for the day in Jamaica. Don't do that. That's where you get like a dollar sign put on your head and then, your family's got to come get you. So,
Yeah.
not a lot of venturing. I wish I would have, but then it was just we were the tourist places we went to, they would say do not leave the property a lot of
Hmm.
times.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the nature.
Yeah, that's fair.
Costa Rica is nice to get off property though. Costa Rica is pretty well protected too. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I know more and more people that are moving to some of those like Nicaragua
yeah,
and Costa Rica,
Hmm.
Turks and things like that. But I think it's definitely, you know where to live on the island and you know where not to go. So, but
They're
correct.
again,
going to
yeah,
places that have been established as
yeah.
safe places.
But I mean I mean that's true for everywhere in the world,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
There's
there's
places
areas
in
of
Alabama I
Tallahassee.
wouldn't want to move to.
Yeah, yeah.
Old
That's like
Frenchtown.
yeah. Pick a place that you don't want to be. Late at night. There's plenty of them. So
Yeah.
no, I
So
was going to
you
ask you, Greg. Since you've lived there for long enough, kind of the you've told us a couple of times, but the top three kind of pros and cons. Now that you've been over there for long enough to say, all right, these are the things that I really like about this in contrast, and these are the things that I definitely miss.
yeah, top three, we'll start with the good. First, cost of living. It's slowly creeping up, but it's still nothing compared to what it is. We probably on average for two of us, we're probably around 450 euro a month in groceries, and like that's wine, that's beer included.
Yeah.
Um, like our gym membership with a personal private trainer that we meet with once a week is like $180. All the utilities are cheaper. Like we get our cable, our internet, our phones all in one package for three phones, um, for like 80 euros a month.
Oh, oh,
That hands down
that hurt.
was
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
painful to
mean
hear.
th-
I'm
that
gonna take
that
a
that
drink of this here.
that was one of the main driving points was we were deciding to go to this entrepreneurship route.
Yeah.
and it made that feasible, because what we were making when we decided to do that, we wouldn't have been able to go all in the US.
Yeah.
Second thing is, it's was a pro, now it's kind of shifted to a con. So maybe I'll have this as the third, as kind of a natural transition. But I'd say the second thing for me is just access to local footy. Um, Now the Portuguese league is even the top, outside of the top three teams. It's pretty below average. But like I have
Still
my
fun to
local,
watch.
yeah, my local club is a 17-minute drive away. Season tickets cost me, oh, they were cheaper because we were in the second division. We won the second division last year, so we bumped up to the top flight. But even then, my season tickets were like €100, and my association fee is like 60 for the year. Um,
Let's call
but
FSU real quick.
yeah, right. It's about
Lord.
what it's worth right now.
Yeah.
But then just, and that kind of leads into like ease of travel just in Europe in general, and costs. So that'd probably be number two. And then number three is pace of life. Especially we moved into a very rural area with about 15 to 20 other people. The average age is 70. They're all farmers. So it was absolutely wonderful, after just grinding years and years and years, to just be able to take a step back. And our first, essentially 5 months that we were here, we pretty much lived a retired life because we hadn't hopped into our
Awesome.
business and stuff like that. And so it was great. But kind of now transitioning to, where we're in like full growth mode and trying to really build out this business and other businesses, and kind of get our financial future secured. We're now into Sleepy Even area. It's nobody's doing what we're doing. The language barrier has proven harder on me than I was expecting it to. And just you're making genuine connections. Like, super fortunate, that we all started this together. And so even just the little bit that, we communicate definitely helps big time. But that has in turn probably turned into the biggest thing that I miss, is that like real human connection.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's the right wording, real human connection, because like the people that we have met here, like it's been genuine, it has been real, but it feels like work because of the language barrier. And then me personally, I also don't devote enough time to others or even to myself right now. And that's something that I'm going to be trying to work on in 2026. So I'd say that'd be the number one thing I miss, just like that, like connection, ease of connection with people. Family, I think now, seeing them as they get older, it's like when I used to see them once a year, it didn't seem that drastic. But now when you see them twice a year, I feel like every 6 months, parents, it's just, they look like they've aged 5 years in 6 months. So Sonny and I have made that a priority, moving forward, and being able to have the flexibility and freedom. But the one thing I can say is I've been able to see my parents and her family more often since we moved to Portugal than I did the 6+ years I was in Colorado. So
Yeah, because your schedule that you had in Colorado, doing the work that you were doing there, I mean, getting away for long enough to travel halfway across the United States,
yeah,
I'm
it
sure
was impossible. Or it was impossible because that's how I had framed it,
Right.
and that's something that I've had to learn as well.
That's true.
And then the third thing, kind of put me on the spot. I haven't.
That's what it's here
I mean,
for.
there's honestly not tons that I miss outside, friends, family.
Yeah.
I could say snowboarding. We have a little snow hill that's about 2-hour drive from our place. It's just got one little lift, and it's a little, I think, like 45-second run. But I miss that. But I also,
You have access to Austria, though, and you go to
I
Axel.
was gonna say, you're a train ride
So
away from the best mountains in the world.
So I guess I'd say more so, one thing I miss, and I don't, this isn't a Portugal thing, I think it's just a me thing, is making time for myself and for hobbies.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. Like in Colorado, bikes. If I wasn't at the brewery, I was on the mountain, in the mountains, biking the mountains,
Yeah.
playing a little bit of music, just doing something. And I've lost that by choice. But yeah, that's
Hobbies,
that kind
man.
of top three.
Yeah, those are good. I mean, it's all the ones that I expected, especially the cost of living thing. Yeah, I think it's all that we hear living here now is that the cost of living is just getting to a point where it's nearly unsurvivable for
I thought we were
people
on the best
lower.
we've ever done.
Jesus, what kind of podcast is this going to be?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's insane. You know, Lauren and I, split expenses, and she does most of the grocery shopping, and just the things the receipts that she comes
Oh,
home with is just, I'm like, for that, so I get it. So to see that the cost of living over there is positive is
It is.
expected.
I mean, the last thing I want to say, just for like reality of the situation too, like it's not all Instagram reels and pie in the sky. Like we're
yep.
figuring out with the Portuguese tax system that like it doesn't work obviously just like it does in the US, and it's a much higher because it's a socialized country. So income tax, we came in on a special tax regime that was meant to bring foreign workers, investors into the economy over the last decade. So on our income, we have a flat 20% tax. But then we also, on any income that's generated in Portugal, which technically all of our income from our coaching program is, if when we do our taxes correctly, um, we then have to pay another, I think it almost equates about 48%
Wow.
on taxes on our income between income tax and the Social Security. Because
Yeah.
Social Security, no matter what, is like 20, I think it's like 23 or 25%. So now the cost of living still makes up for it.
Kind of brings
Yeah.
that back closer
But
together.
it's not as green pastures as we thought because when we moved to Portugal, we were just moving to Portugal. You
Yeah.
know, at
You didn't
that
really
point
care about the details.
yeah, and when we were, just getting started in real estate, and we were like, yeah, we're just going to live off of the cash flow of our properties. Well, then, that reality came down quickly, but we made it. But so now it's like, and then they're also trying to change the path to citizenship. Another reason we chose Portugal was it was a 5-year trek where you had 5 years of residency, temporary residency. You had to just meet your criteria in
Yeah.
that 5 years. And then we could apply for citizenship, and then around a year or two later, we'd get our passport, and then boom, we're able to travel anywhere in Europe, work-wise, live-wise, and not have to worry about visas and stuff like that.
And you'd be a dual citizen
Yes,
at
so
that point. Yeah.
at least right now.
Yeah.
But Portugal and the US, they're part of the Hague.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There is
Yep.
like 38 something countries around the world that, as long as you're part of the Hague, you can have multiple
You can do that.
multiple citizenships. They all have tax treaties with each other,
Gotcha.
and things of that nature. But there is a large push there's a new far right party here called Chega. And I mean, it's the same playbook that you're seeing play out around the world. Let's blame the immigrants for all of the issues, for all of the problems.
Yeah. You're
So
the immigrant this time.
yeah. And so, but I'm not, it's not me because
Right.
I'm paying the taxes and
I
stuff like
know.
that. But similar when, when it's made to look like one thing is bad, then all the fallout, goes from that. So now they're in the process of pushing that to 10 years, which then for us kind of, it's like, do we plan on really
Yeah.
being in Portugal for the next 10 years due to the taxation and things. So it threw a kink, but we're again, fortunately we're at a point where we can kind of be nimble. The biggest thing now is just getting Sunny's mom settled because she's technically still here. Not illegally, because they've halted all family reunification visas, but due to her medical needs, and she is technically our dependent. We've been
Right.
claiming her as our dependent on taxes in the U.S. She's technically here legally. They won't deport her, if for whatever, not that anybody's ever going to do anything, but so, I mean, there's pros and cons to everywhere, and it's just more so about what works for you. And obviously, again, with our situation, it was easier, if we had kids and stuff like that already, then
Does
other questions would have been
your
asked.
political system over there, so let's just say the right-wing party gets elected, is it a 4-year term, kind of like how it gets done over here, or how does that? I don't know anything about
It's a good
the.
question.
Do they have a Senate House? I mean, obviously, it's not like the United States, but how,
So I will only speak. Well, I mean, this is us talking, so I'll speak
yeah,
to my level of knowledge. It's
exactly.
it's very similar to our setup,
Okay,
where there is a president. We have the national election next year. I don't know if it's a 2-year or a 4-year term.
okay,
But they've had issues in the last decade with, I think, 2 out of their last 3 presidents have been quote unquote impeached for improper um,
use of
collusion,
authority
and
and
just it's an old school country, so it's super corrupt, just like pretty much the rest of Europe and or the rest of the world. Um, but so there's
at least they can impeach their presidents, so that's
true,
nice.
true. So there's a president, there's parliament, and then there's the constitutional court. So
Okay.
very similar setup to like parliament is our Congress.
Mhm.
President is president, has veto power, and then there's the constitutional courts that if something gets voted on in the parliament, which is made up of multiple parties, so
Elected
that's where the
officials, parties,
yeah,
and things
so
like
like
that.
so Shega is the new far right. It's only been around for about 3 or 4 years now.
Gotcha.
The 2 parties that have been in power the longest, the PSD and I think the PD, are like Democratic Socialists.
Okay.
Um, and then there's a super far, then there's like full communism socialists. Um, but similar thing, it gets voted on in Parliament, has to meet its certain criteria,
Criterias.
then gets sent to the president. The president is all good with it. They then send it to the constitutional courts, the constitutional lawyers, to make sure that it's not unconstitutional. And so that's what's happening right now with this nationality change, or citizenship route. There's multiple things in it.
Yeah.
Some it got voted on. President signed off on some of them, and then sent everything up to the constitutional court. And then the court came back down and said, okay, this part of the bill is unconstitutional. It would need to be amended and changed. These are all fine, and once the president signs off on it, then that's put into law. So it's a very very similar process. Um, and then so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the national elections next year.
Yeah.
They haven't the Shega party hasn't gotten tons of local. They didn't win tons of local elections. We just had all of our local municipal elections, and those are 4-year terms. Um, we just had ours in October. I could have voted, but didn't realize that we had to register
How that
X
worked.
amount of
Yeah.
days before, so we didn't get a chance to.
Gotcha.
Um, I'd like to be more involved, just like knowing, but like having the conversations. Like our best friend in the village is our
Yeah.
village's president, our local president of
Okay.
our like Freguesia, which would be kind of like a county. So
Mhm.
think of it like Okaloosa County. Like our village would be, Crestview. The other one would be Defuniak, and so he's the president of that. And then the there's Freguesia, then there's the municipality, which I guess would be it'd be more like Freguesia is like subdivisions, and
Kind of like a
then
county or something.
your municipality is the county, and then your district, which I think there's like 12 districts in Portugal, would be the state level.
Okay.
5-year terms for president there. They can do two terms, and then that's it, and then 4-year terms for the members of the parliament. So
There you
pretty
go.
similar.
Yeah, and like it's the language barrier has the hardest place. One of my I'd say probably my best friend here.
Yeah.
He ran in one of the opposition parties to my friend, to my other friend who's been this is his second term that he just won. But it's definitely not like the local elections and stuff like that. Like it's nothing. The campaigning and stuff like that. It's nothing like it is in the U.S.
Smear
They do walk.
tactics.
They walk around the different villages, and they'll go up and kind of talk to everybody about their thoughts, their plans, and stuff like that. But there's no political ads on the televisions. There's no. It's just
People aren't wearing
this is
hats.
we're gonna
You
have.
know,
They do wear hats. It is
big old
Are they
flags on their
red?
oh, they
trucks.
no, they do, brother. It's pretty funny. They're the whole week leading up to election day. They're driving through the neighborhoods. They all have like flatbed trucks with the signs on the back, and they're playing music off of like loud horns and stuff like that. So but
All right.
it's fun. It's interesting. I just not understanding the language makes it difficult to kind of have those
I can imagine.
real
Yeah.
deep conversations about it. Because like I definitely ask them like, well, what are your guys' thoughts about immigrants and stuff like that? Because what they're talking about here is there's been a massive influx of Indian and Pakistani,
Correct.
similar to most people or most places within Europe.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are 100% issues with illegal immigration in the bigger cities, like down in Lisbon and stuff like that, where they've just completely, they have taken over,
Yeah.
not taken over, but they've come in.
Established a foothold, and
Yeah,
if
and
you're in a,
they're
especially
not
Europe,
here
where you're,
legally. They are
yeah,
abusing because the system here does cater a little bit to immigrants. They don't get tons, but they get checks when they come in and stuff like that, and so they've learned how to work the system. And like one person's getting 10 checks and stuff like that. So, but you take the good with the bad, but of course it all lends itself to all immigration's bad. So we got to just protect
right.
ourselves
Yeah.
when.
It goes back to protectionism, and that's what is, I think, the disease that is going around the world right now, which is if you can't have it this way, how we've designed it, that's not working, then you can't have it at all, which doesn't make any sense. So just the unwillingness to spend time on it to figure it out is what it comes down to.
Well, yeah, I think
That's
that's it. Just discourse is gone from all aspects of life. I mean, at times, we've seen it in our own personal circles and just
Yes, we
at
have.
minimal levels, and then obviously goes kind of all the way up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, the reality, like, fuck, 2020 happened, and everything's changed since then. Whether you know, some people will say it was one thing, some people will say it was the other, but I think the one thing we could all agree on that nothing's been the same
no,
since then.
No.
no. How? Okay, so I mean, and you may not be able to answer this completely because of the language barrier. So I'm sorry, I'm throwing these questions at you. How much do people talk about blame and or acknowledge COVID 2020 and all that, change that happened in the world over there?
Over
'Cause that's
here, there's zero speak of it.
okay.
I think maybe it has a little in respect or with regards to where we live specifically. Again, being
Sure.
super rural,
Okay.
that for a lot of people it really didn't change much.
Yeah.
Our villagers, like they don't like they all farm. They all make their own wine. They have
Yeah.
their own fruits, their vegetables. They have sheep. They have like goats. So like they're completely self-sustaining almost.
Mhm.
Outside of paying their bills. Because like they don't sell they're not for-profit crops. They
Right.
literally
They're going to the
work in their
market and
farms all
doing their
day to provide for themselves. Because it's like 3 families in our village. That's it. So everybody's interwoven. And one thing I did find out here, it's actually quite common because it's always been such a poor country. Like here centrally and in the more rural areas, like
Mhm.
intermingling with family, like cousins marrying and things like that is pretty common
Mm.
here. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing really talked about. Politics in general, like obviously when we meet people and stuff like that, we say we're from America, and they always chuckle, and like, oh, Trump, and I'm like, oh, Ventura, just kind of throwing it back on them. But it's not a country that we've noticed, at least speaking with Portuguese people, where politics is a pervasive
Yeah.
and woven in the day-to-day lives of people here. It's
Mm,
a poor country, so people, all they care about is providing for themselves, providing
yeah.
for their family, and just enjoying life. Like we had, I think it was early this year when all of Western Europe the power went off on all of Spain, Portugal, parts of
Yeah.
Denmark and Belgium and Western France. We didn't have power for like 18 hours. It's
Mm,
completely cut off from the world, which for us is tricky because our whole business is all
right.
internet based. And um, so I could walk up to one little corner because there's no cell phone service, no nothing, but I could walk up to one little corner and like every hour and a half get like one WhatsApp message out to our VA who lives in the Philippines. And so she was able to handle everything. But walking around the neighborhood, you never would have thought there was anything wrong because
Mm.
they just went about their business. They're like, all right, well, if there's no power, there's no power. We got
I
our
guess we're sitting
radios
outside.
and I was like, I was the first thing that popped in my head is like I couldn't imagine if just one day, just eastern seaboard in the U.S.
Oh,
the
Man,
power grid went off.
lose
It
their
would be
minds.
immediate looting, riots, everything, craziness. Guns would be coming out. And so I was like, oh, I wonder what's happening in like Lisbon, in
yeah.
Porto, and then like a day or two, power was out for about 11 or 12 hours, about
Mm.
10 a.m. and then came back on around 10, 11 p.m. And I was like, I wonder what happened in those bigger cities. Next day, in a lot of the local Facebook groups that I'm a part of and stuff like that, all you saw was nobody worked. Everybody just went outside to the local cafes, to the
Yeah.
local bar stands, and everybody would just be paid cash. And just all the neighbors were just like, "Fuck it, it's just an extra day
It's a
off. Like
holiday.
Yeah.
let's hang out. Let's enjoy each other's time and
Yeah.
each other's company." And like I was like, "All right, this is I think I can be here." Like
Yeah, that's the ideal situation.
So it's
Yeah.
essentially a hurricane party when the power goes out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. That's solid.
So I mean, I feel like I've been talking too much on this.
That's because we've been
What?
throwing the questions to
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
I know. So talk to me. So if you guys could drop of the hat tomorrow, kids are somewhere for a month with family, friends, whoever needs to be, and Preston, you and Lauren, Josh, you and Devin could just go travel somewhere for a month. Where would that be?
Europe would be the easiest because I can tackle a bunch of countries at once. So I've been to Italy before. I spent 2 weeks there, loved it. So I would love to go back, and I would just do everything by train. But yeah,
All right, what's
Thailand too would be awesome.
yeah, Thailand. Yeah, that's somewhere Sunny still wants to get to. Just quickly, Preston, before you hop in here, train travel in and out of Europe, once you get outside of kind of the Balkan countries and like northern France and southwestern Germany, not super easy. It's not quick and it's not
Mm,
cheap. So that fallacy, because I thought the same thing. I was like, all right, I live in Portugal.
yeah.
I'll hop on a train, pop over to France for the day. A train ride from Lisbon to France. It's brand new. Like due to this is a funny story. Due to
Yeah,
World
they
War
had to
II,
rebuild everything.
well, not even rebuild it in Spain. So you could get into Spain from Portugal by train. But at the border of France and Spain during World War II, Spain shrunk their railway lines. So the French couldn't come in and get resupplied.
So they would
Like
just
I got
stop like pretty
Yeah,
early
so
going
they
in.
couldn't yeah. So now they're in the process of re-extending the widths of the train tracks so there could be like
Mm,
unfettered train access.
Now, so to Josh's point, I mean, Italy has been on our list for a long time. I've been to Italy multiple times because my brother was stationed in Vicenza there when he was in the
yeah.
army. So, um, but I feel like if you had a month, Japan is where to go because you need a month with Japan to take in half of what Japan has to offer. And on the other side of public transportation and trains, They got bullet trains, so
Everything's right there.
they're a little bit faster. They don't run the whole entire, length of the country at this point. I think they're still working on them. They're making them faster and faster. But, we had a couple of friends that have told us to go to Japan at this point, but they went there for like 5 or 6 days off a cruise, and that's what, one city maybe of the multiple cities that you want to hit. Like everybody's gonna want to go to Tokyo, but there's so many on the outskirts. We would want to go to the ones that are, near the water to enjoy
Mhm.
all the fish that we have to ship over here for God knows what we're paying on Goldbelly and every other website that has it. But that would be kind of food mecca for us. You can always go to Europe and then do the travels around there, but Japan and the travel to get there, and get back is part of it. So having a month would really help.
Yeah, I can confirm on if you're going to Asia from the United States, minimum 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of when Sonny and I went to Bali for a month from Colorado,
I remember that.
it was a 30 hour travel day. It was like 10 and a half from Denver to Munich, another, I think 11 from Munich to Singapore, and then Singapore to Bali was like another 3. Then obviously a little layover time and stuff in between. So I mean, you're talking 3 full days just of travel.
Yep.
So you make it work. The nice thing is, at least with most Asian countries, is once you're there,
Super
it's
cheap.
pretty respectable cost wise.
Yeah.
It's just getting there that.
Yeah, I want to go to
Costs you.
walk through the Japanese night markets and things like that, and just eat and drink our way through that. Jacksonville has started doing an Asian market, night market. I
Nice.
think it's once a month that we haven't gotten to, but looks cool. But again, it's probably not going to be anywhere near the real thing. So that would be. I think we watched too much Anthony Bourdain at this point, to not want to do that type of activity over in any of the Asian countries. Singapore, Thailand, Japan, they've all got that set up where it's just like go out in the market and just go to town. Would be ideal.
What's the one country you have no interest in ever going to?
Man.
I don't know if I
Don't
can
worry,
answer that.
nobody from that country is going to watch this video.
Like, I mean, because I still want to go to Russia,
Yeah.
I've been
one
there,
place,
so
and one place that I don't want to go to. I guess I don't know it yet. I'm sure there's a place out there, but
I had a thought here. It will come back to me.
for me, I have this is like if someone gave me money and said, "Hey, here's free transportation to go there, and all your expenses paid. Do you want to go?" I'd probably still say no, and that is India. I just don't like the food. So,
You gotta
and then
increase the size of your palate. Some of the food's good.
yeah,
Not
I've
all
never,
the food though.
and then what's Dubai? So the United Arab Emirates and all that. Just it does not speak to me. And everybody, I know a lot of people that love going there.
I'd
But
like
I'm
to
just like,
see
nah.
Dubai, but I
I'll
feel
see it
like
on the TV.
yeah, the issue with some of the more Central Asian countries, you have to think about the women's rights component
Oh,
of it that
yeah.
would not fly.
Correct. There's a lot of
just
things you have to
rights
ignore.
in general. I mean, you got Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't necessarily think of it that way, Josh. I mean, I don't think for me personally, I don't think that would stop me from going to experience certain aspects of the
Right.
culture. Because that's what I would try to dig into if I were to go
Right.
to those places. But I mean, I definitely understand
I don't think I
hesitations
need to
and
see Afghanistan or Syria after, what has happened there,
Growing up watching it
or a
on TV.
Yemen or a South
I
Sudan
feel like I
or
know it pretty well.
yeah, I feel like that's been on the TV enough with like nice little explosions in the background where
Today we're going to go on a tour of the tunnels.
yeah, I'm good, man. So yeah, but there are like even African countries I'd love to visit.
Yeah.
You just pick one. I mean, everybody goes for South Africa because that's the one that I think is always been, top of mind, but there's so many
Yeah.
other places to go there. And just experience, we had somebody go on safari. I think it
Yeah.
was, forget which country it was. But again, they came back and they're like, yeah, the travel there sucked, and getting through everything, but it was
Once you're
once in a
there, great
lifetime experience.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Sonny's ex before me was South African, and then his family fled to Mozambique.
Hmm.
And so she spent quite a bit of time, and so like we've that's kind of our next like really really big trip is going to do a month or two down there, and yeah, doing a couple safaris and stuff like that. Because yeah, I'm with you. Like to like being able like to just be in a camp where there's elephants
Right.
Yeah.
and lions and just to me that just is mind blowing. And like you see it like we went down a rabbit hole probably about 2 weeks ago. We came home from dinner one night and we were talking about it, and then so she came back and showed me some of the videos of some of the reserves and stuff that she had been on, and it's just wild the stuff that you see. And like had some of the bad stuff on YouTube too, where like an elephant
Yeah.
came in with just they were all sitting in on picnic tables in a campsite, and then he just comes in, and yeah, there's two guys kind of sitting have their back to him, and they're just kind of ignore him, and he walks up, and then you see him swing his head, and then the tusks just come and just waylay this guy off the bench, and then as the other guy's trying to get up, he comes back the other way, and yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
You just gotta remember they're animals.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
So I guess should we maybe shift something like sports, talk sports for a few minutes, talk about the lovely garbage fire that is Florida
Yeah.
State University and its admin and
How long are you
I
willing to talk about
yeah.
that dumpster fire, I guess is, but yeah, I think it's a good switch. I I am I just cannot figure out why we did not fire. I know why we didn't fire Norvell after the string of losses. I know why, because we would not have been able to find anybody else. Maybe if we
Correct.
did the timing correctly, maybe we would have, but um, coaches' unwillingness and the other programs that were also firing their coaches at the same time, Penn State, just the timing sucked. So I get it. I also don't think that we had the money to do essentially let him out of his contract. So there's multiple factors there, but yeah, from the football component, I see another year next year where it's could end up the same way, where we set ourselves up with some cupcake games, except for Alabama, which I think was just not ready to play when they played us. Um, and we might strike up a couple wins at the beginning, and then we'll fall on our face unless we really change things before next year.
Yeah, I mean fortunately we got Notre Dame off the schedule. So
Hmm.
that's a positive. We'll end up I don't know, I think Georgia's scheduled for next year. But I think the biggest thing for me is it's been this way almost since Bobby left. It just the admin, just we haven't had anybody in charge that's been super competent on how to run a new age, consistently cared for program. Now, what NCAA football has turned into over the last 3 to 4 years, like I can't stand it. Between
Yeah,
the
it gets
college
harder
Yeah.
and harder
football
for
where
everybody.
it's all ESPN chooses whoever's gonna go in there so they can make their ratings money. Then
It's
you got
ruined a lot of the
you
fun.
well then the biggest thing is like you got the NIL, like not that one of my biggest critiques of Mike is he can't recruit and he's shit at player evaluations. But now you add into it that anybody can go anywhere
Yeah.
after 1 year, not have to sit out and go get paid. Like I will never begrudge these 18, 19, 20-year-old men who are only, I think it was, we had a friend here and he asked me, he's South African, and he asked me about, college football because we were watching the FSU Virginia game
Hmm.
that night. He's like, how many of these guys go pro? And I looked up and it's like 0.3%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very small.
it's hard for me to person begrudge a 19-year-old when he knows like, look, I've never got a shot at going to the pros. But if I can convince these idiot programs who now are just throwing around money to pay me $400 to $800K a year just
Yeah.
to come dress and play for them for 8 months. I'm going to do it here, and then I'm going to do it there, and then I'm going to do it there. So it's just a confluence of events. But my biggest worry about Florida State is we just don't have anybody in any power positions that I think has any kind of clue on what it takes to be successful in this landscape of college football. The last thing I'll say is the president that we have, and this is just coming from a Florida State alum, so I'm looking at it, the university as a whole, is the president we do have, President McCullough, like what he's been able to do now that he's getting TMH under the FSU banner, like that's massive for accreditation, AAU status for the university, but that's all he's concerned about.
That is a
Like
whole nother problem, by the way. Living here in Tallahassee, I will tell you that that is not well received by the
Really?
community for this to happen, because the worry is on price of care, cost of care, what that does to it, because the only other competition that we had to TMH was Capital Regional Medical Center. So yeah, that's a whole nother bag of worms. I agree with you, Greg. It is that to have a connection with a hospital or care system for the people that you're training at your university to go straight into, that is kind of the point. There's many universities that have done that all over the U.S., and there's some of the best. I mean, look at UF
Shands, yeah.
and what they got with Shands. Like, that's how you become like one of the top hospitals and top care systems in the world. But yes, the cost factor, and speaking of Shands, I mean, Shands is one of the most expensive. It's not received well by the community. So, but I get it. His focus is elsewhere. Is the problem? He's doing great things in one area, but he's got to do something about the sports programs. Our athletic director, Michael Alford, has been here since what, 2021, I think.
Mhm.
There's no, he just keeps shaking his head yes. He's not really struck down and say there's no vision, we're going this direction, this is what we're going to do. He's just kind of letting the cards fall and then making quick decisions, which is not how to operate any type of athletic program.
Josh, any input?
Yeah.
Not
You
much
want to
else
talk
to
about
say,
FSU?
really. Sorry.
Or have we covered it all?
I mean, you guys are a lot more knowledgeable when it comes to Florida State and football than I am. I watch it. I root for it. There's one game of the year, if they ever play each other, that I don't root for Florida State, and that's if they play my team, which is UNC.
That's right.
Well, let's talk.
And
Anyway,
I,
well, let's dig
and
into
I,
that.
I was
and
gonna
I
say,
hate
come on.
UNC
Yeah, we've got
now.
lots to talk about with UNC.
Not even talk football. Like, I mean, what's happened to your basketball program, bro?
Yeah, seriously.
Like UNC's basketball program, like.
I mean, we're not dead.
Yeah.
It's a long season. It's a long
Yeah.
season. We got time.
Well, we actually
it's rough living across the street from Duke. You know, that's hard.
Where we play Florida State. UNC is the first ACC game this year. We play in like 2 days.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that football's slowing down, I'll start switching over to other sports.
I mean, it shouldn't be. Your Panthers might be winning that sorry ass division.
That's in about an hour, so I'm watching that game.
You guys are leading the division now, aren't you?
We are, just because we're tied wins losses with Tampa Bay, but we beat Tampa Bay last week. We play Tampa Bay again as our last game of the season. So as long as we get to that game and we have more wins, then it doesn't matter. We'll be playoff. But today we got the Seahawks, so that could easily be a loss. And then so
Josh,
we'll see.
How did you pick up what is the connection to North Carolina teams?
So before I moved to Florida, when I was like 22, I was born and raised in North Carolina.
Okay.
So growing up as a kid, went to Durham, went to UNC, went to a lot of Wake Forest games actually, because we were closer to Winston-Salem.
Fuck Wake Forest, sorry.
But it was all basketball.
They have fucked us for the last better part.
I know, that's
true.
why I said.
But yeah, no. Grew up doing nothing but basketball.
Tangent.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Side quest tangent. Wake Forest. I want to say it was the 30-0 game. I believe that was when a past cohort of yours broke her ankle when we were walking to that game, if I
Oh,
remember
geez.
correctly.
Was
Trying to
that
think. I'm trying to think of who that was.
It would have
was
been
that Nabil?
Brandy.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Josh. Just
yeah.
my random photographic memory came back of
Hey,
us walking
at
right
least
by
at least you remember those things.
the Leach
Yeah,
Center, and she walked off a
So much
friggin'
of
curb.
going to the Florida
that's
State
right.
games when I forget because drank so much. They come
Blurred.
back
Yeah.
in
I blurred those
flashes.
times out clearly
Yeah.
for good reason. Well, that's
But yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
That's the Carolina connection. I don't watch NFL too much. I was a Steelers fan because
yeah.
being born in West Virginia, your two choices are you're either a Bengals fan or a Steelers fan. So take a pick
Steelers
there.
is the better choice there.
Yeah. So I had of all jerseys that I had as a kid, I had a Cordell Stewart jersey. So you can make all kinds of jokes there. But
Well,
that's
Preston, I honestly remember like when we were in school, outside of going to the games just for the sake of going to the games, like you weren't super invested in any of
hmm
the sports programs really, other than just going to the football games and
Showing
stuff
up.
like that. So
Yeah.
I do remember. I think it was maybe 2010, 2011, or maybe when I moved back to the Panhandle from Tampa St. Pete and started being around everybody again. I was like, Preston like knows the players and.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I actually started
I mean,
giving
your
a shit
wife
at one
helps.
point.
Your wife helps with that because
Yes.
she's been diehard
Yeah.
since I've known her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally, I feel like the living in Tallahassee from going to FSU and then being out of FSU while everybody else was going to FSU, because most of my friends, I think, are younger than me or slightly younger than me at this point, or went to FSU later, got me a little bit more knowledgeable with it and a little bit more, I guess, caring of it. I was just the type where just give me a fun time to go to and
Mhm.
I'll go to it. But it wasn't invested in the actual mechanics of everything happening. But now I feel like between eliminating not watching NFL, which was early on, and following more Premier League at this point, I feel
Yeah.
like that's what I talk about more. If you talk about a sport, that's all I talk about. Like Manchester United actually won the other day against Newcastle. Blow my mind. Color me, very surprised. But yeah, sports here at FSU. I think FSU now that we've been in this slide, I feel like I'm going back to my old ways where I'm like, do I actually give a shit about this? Because all it's
Right.
giving me is pain at this point.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think
Yeah, it's
just I think a lot of kind of like the change between when we were younger, being kids, our parents, and then kind of going up. The technology, like with Facebook and all that, also kind of helped get everyone a little bit more invested or knowledgeable about it. Because now those algorithms, again, I don't know, I don't really follow too much. I'm not talking to people, but I can get on my Facebook and eventually I'll scroll and see where somebody said, hey, this new game, this new general manager got hired, and I can read then through. Doesn't
it's
really
just in your
change
face a
much in
lot
my
more.
life, but it's in my face a lot more. So I do kind of have that, and so I think when we were in our 20s and stuff, we started to learn more about those sports, even if we didn't really want to, and it
That's
kind of
fair.
got you there. Whereas if you were just watching it because you turned CBS on your local television, you were just watching your team and that's it, because you had to go read the newspaper to read anything else about it, and they're only going to publish so much, the highlights. You're not knowing what's going on in the background. So
But yeah, and I think that's why Sports Center was such a massive
yeah,
for those of us who were big
changed a
sports
lot.
fans growing up, because it was great
Yeah,
because like you knew you were able to see what was happening
what was
elsewhere.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I think that's something, Josh, I never really thought of. Like yeah, with the advent of technology and social media and algorithms, it's like even things that you've never even thought about before get put in front of your face, and it's in front of your face for like
correct.
5 friggin' days. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh well, let me
I
go
guess that
down
is
this
an important
rabbit
thing to
hole.
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference in passion too. Like my passion is for soccer that I played for
Mhm.
years and years and years as a kid on several different
Right.
teams and travel teams and all this. And football, yeah, I dabbled on. It was terrible because I never got to a height that was worthwhile in football. But you fall back on your passions, I think, as you get
Yeah.
older. So, I still have the CEO of our company is like, God, I hate soccer. Like 90 minutes, and the score could be 0-0 at the end of it. Like just zero understanding, right? But it's still a thrill, even if you
Yeah.
don't see any goals. Like it's the game itself. I think you have to be a little bit more knowledgeable of. Like football, it's all about how many points are on the board.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
end. So
I used
Josh,
to
did
be
you?
that way about soccer of the whole.
did
It's
you? You were one of those
boring.
guys?
I was very early, and then it really was when I was like in my late teens by playing like on the Xbox FIFA.
Yeah.
And I started and learning how to do the different moves and with the ball. I was like, I got to the age where I could, I could find beauty in that. And so then I would watch a real game because I had other friends that were into soccer, and they were like, "Oh, watch, whoever, play it." And I'd be like, that's actually, even though there's no points scored yet, it's really beautiful watching how they're able to control the ball with just their feet the way they're doing, or precision passing. And then from there, it just kind of built up over time where I appreciate it a lot more now. And I would rather watch soccer than, say, baseball. I can't stand baseball.
Yeah, but
It's
not
the
on
most boring,
TV. Take me,
boring.
take me, take
I'll,
me
I'll
to the.
watch live. I'll
Yeah, I'll
watch it
say, take me
live.
to the Dick. Take me to Hauser,
Yep.
the Florida State's baseball stadium. As
Yep.
outdated as it is, like man, that's a good time. But
Yep.
yeah, baseball on TV is.
No.
Yeah, soccer has the same moment. It's any sport has those moments. Like I know we have a chat here, but if you were to ask me like one of my favorite moments over the past like 10 years or so, I think this is actually a little more than 10 years. But just a moment that has all of it for one particular sport. If you
Yeah.
look at the link that I just shared, it's
Oh,
Troy.
Dini's goal.
Yeah, it's Troy
Yeah.
Deeney's goal, in versus Leicester. That's
Watford.
just it was just an insane moment. They're about to win the game. Leicester is by kicking a penalty. It gets blocked twice, and then they throw it out and run all the way back down the field and score. The other team scores the goal, and it just mayhem ensues. Like that's the type of moments for watching sports to me.
Right.
If you were
We'll make sure to edit in the video.
And put it in post. I got to figure that out.
just it's if you were to pick a football moment, it's Alabama Auburn when they go to kick a field goal and then it gets ran back.
Yep.
Those are the things that I think people watch these sports for. In the end, it's not just the score line or what they bet their money on Hard Rock bets, which is half of my friends at this point.
I was
It's
I'm
the
being
moment.
at Hallenbach watching Jameis Winston throw the game-winning touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
The final
That's
BCS.
I
Yep.
don't know how much more time you guys got. But just quickly, I think the normalization of sports betting has also killed
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
what sports was as well. I mean, which is kind of what you guys thought. I mean, obviously, it's probably a bit more prevalent, or I won't say that. I'm saying that here in Europe, sports betting has been integrated into normal society for
Mhm.
Yeah,
forever.
you've had it
And
for
it's
a
just
long time
newer.
in Europe.
Yeah, it's newer. It's newer in the US, but I feel like now when like I do stream like ESPN or something before a specific game or match that I'm
Yeah.
trying to watch, it's all you're hearing about and like all you see on the spread is like, okay, what are the betting lines? So like I think like what is that actually doing to us as a society? I mean, obviously that's probably a whole nother podcast that we could do just on
Yeah.
that. But like what the normalization of super addicting things,
Yeah.
like I think has just changed society on like massive levels.
Yeah, I think we would need that could definitely be one of the next podcast topics because it is, like I said, I tried it, I picked it up and bet on a few games. I put at the beginning of the college football season, you were able to pick up the national champions.
Yeah.
So I picked a few. Florida State was in that list because I was like, hey, we're gonna rock this out. And then they were like plus 5 or 7,000 at that point. So you put $50 on them and you get $2,500 payout. Well, of course, you know what has happened to that, but Georgia, Miami, and Ohio State are still bets that I have played on Hard Rock. Now, am I
Right.
playing stupid money on it? No. Like those are each like $15 a piece. And
Correct.
majority of the people I know are like $1 here, a couple dollars here. They parlay something together to get $60. But there's people out there that dump wads of cash on a single game or a single event in a game, and then they lose out and they go ape shit. So yeah, what is it doing to us as a society? Not good things, that's for sure. It'd be interesting to chat about that.
I agree. Until next time, longer session on sports betting. I think that'd be a good one. I
Sports
think
betting
that's a
by
deep
three
dive.
guys who barely sports bet.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your outside
Wag
looking
my
in.
finger at you.
I've never won. Let me put it that way. But I have.
Yeah.
You've
I have,
never won? Oh, come on. You
I
gotta
am
at least
so bad at the
Oh.
parlays.
Well, at
Oh,
least you
it is
stopped
horrible.
then.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I had no choice.
Yeah.
You're right.
had to
Either
buy
gotta-
diapers apparently. So
buy diapers or hit this bet.
That's right. That's right. I was one of those guys. So no. But no, I think we've done about an hour and 10 minutes. So I think unless there's something else that's real quick, anybody wants to say or end with.
No, I think we should do some we can do some off channel chatting
Yeah.
about this. But again, I think setting this up, Josh, this is great. I think this will be something that will be really worthwhile.
No, I agree. I think it'll be fun. So got to play around with it a little bit more and
Yeah.
see how editing and all that type of stuff works with it. But it'll be a start.
Excellent.
Yeah, we can talk some more. Like, I think just spitball and stuff like money, investing,